Well, thank you, Lukas. I kind of got a little bit of what you were saying in terms of the introduction, something about some Danish guys and all that. But again, thank you very much for taking your time to join this morning webinar about SMS passcode. My name is Christian Larsen, and if I don't got the interpretation wrong, Lucas said that I'm running the territory in Czech Republic. My territory is actually most of our business outside Northern Europe. So, and one of the new regions that we are looking into, or we have actually been working with the Czech Republic for a while now. We are really looking forward to the business in the Czech Republic, and we do see a huge demand for our solution. So, in terms of the today's webinar is, I know it's very hard because it's on a webinar to do some really interactive stuff, but I would like to give you a brief idea about the current situation in the market in terms of security. Then I will drop into to doing a lot of demos for you guys today. I will do some demos on Citrix, VMware, Microsoft Outlook Web Access, and a lot of other stuff. So you'll get a good understanding about the capabilities of SMS Passcode when you're done. And if you have any questions during the session, please write them to Lukas. You can do them in Czech as well. And then at the very end, we will do a short Q&A session to make sure that the questions that you have are answered. So please do that. So to begin with, a little bit about SMS Passcode. We claim to be technology leader in what we call adaptive multi-factor authentication. I know that's a hard word, but basically what we do is that we ensure that it's the correct people connecting to the right resources. And we claim to be a technology leader because, yeah, I would say that SMS Passcode, the only thing that we do is this authentication. We don't have a lot of other different products that we do. So we are a very focused company, and we only do multi-factor authentication software. And I think that's one of the reasons why we can be, even though we're considered a challenger, so to speak, we are in the Gartner Magic Quadrant for multi-factor authentication, and as far as we know, we are the only ones there that haven't paid for being there. So we take that as a very good thing. But basically, around SMS Passcode, we were founded in 2005. We are headquartered in Copenhagen. Today we are roughly about 35 employees all over the world, and we are more than, actually we currently have, I think it's about 650 resellers globally, and more than 2,000 customers in 40 countries. So we are considered a fast-growing company, and also, I mean, these times it's we are AAA credit rated, which means that we have a very good, solid economic foundation. And I think that's important for you as a customer doing business with a company like ours, that you know that we're going to be here in the future as well. So we have a rock solid economic foundation, and the user base is currently growing, and we have more than 600,000 users running SMS Passcode globally today. So if you look at the customers that we have today, I mean it's a wide range of different sectors. So you cannot say that SMS Passcode has a particular better fit at financial sectors than government sectors. So we actually appeal to almost any sector out there. I know, again, as I said before, we're just starting up in the Czech Republic, but some of the references that you might know locally, like LeasePlan, Raiffeisen Bank, and I know that at least those of you who have kids do know Lego, the world famous toys. It's a Danish company, but it's well known, and also IKEA. So you can say we have a lot of big customers out there, and I would say the The average customer that we have is somewhere between 500-600 users, but again, we do have customers running the solution only for 5 users, and I think the biggest solution we have is about 30,000 users connecting to the system. So, and again, it ranges. We do have a lot of government customers as well. So high-profile security customers like police services around the world, governments, parliaments as well. So we tend to have good reference cases in all sectors. So if you need some background check on what we do with customers in the areas where you work in, please give us a buzz and we will help you connect with those customers. We have a rock solid solution, so it's I've actually never seen that a customer doesn't want to be a reference customer. So so please let us know if you want to speak with some customers in your verticals. So in terms of the partnerships for a technology company like ours, it's very important to have good alliances out there with the other vendors. And you can say that we originate from a Citrix project actually back in 2005 for a huge telco operator. So we actually started out with Citrix, and a lot of the guys in SMS Passcode do have a relation to Citrix. For my part, I used to work for Citrix here in the Nordics. So that is kind of our heritage. That's where we come from. But we do support a lot of vendors out there, and I would say that if you have a remote access system, we would very likely support it. And I know that one of the things that is kicking on at the moment is definitely around the NetScaler. A lot of you running Citrix probably know about the NetScaler as well. Now we'll come in, touch a little bit about what we can do on the NetScaler going forward and some of the other stuff. And I also need to say in terms of Citrix, we actually, so those of you familiar with the Citrix receiver, we did actually do build some of the components for the two-factor authentication part in the receiver. So we do have a very close relationship, and I would say that both Cisco, VMware, and Citrix are some of the major systems that we do support. So that was a little bit about the company and a little bit about the relationship we have with the different vendors. So why do you need stronger authentications or stronger authentication? Most of you or some of you might already have solutions today like from RSA, SafeNet, the traditional token vendors out there. And you can say if you look at the market today, well, you need stronger authentications because passwords are weak. I mean, normal passwords. The most current case is this Heartbleed issue that has been around the world, compromising thousands or millions of passwords out there. And you can say the hacker's preferred weapon is actually to steal the credentials. And what we also see is that a lot of these organizations, it's not normal or it's not always companies like Sony, Adobe, New York Times, all those big companies, but it's actually a lot of the hackers also target smaller companies. So even though that you have a company below 250 employees, you're still not safe, and it's very likely that if you're not protecting the remote access, that people are trying to compromise your infrastructure. And if you look at SMS Passcode, I mean, the system can do a lock, so you can actually see where people are trying to log into your systems from, and I will show you that later. But this also, I mean, even our organization, SMS Passcode, we do get a lot of hacking attempts because we are a security company. But we're actually able with the console to see where these attacks come from. And that's a little bit frightening sometimes. But it's a good thing that we have a good technology so far. It hasn't succeeded in anything like that. So again, the demand for strong authentication, it also, I mean, for those of you using traditional tokens today, also know some of the hassle about administrating traditional token solutions. So they need to be rolled out, administered, and all that. And it's actually quite a big task. When we visit customers, we often see that that in bigger customers, that they actually have people responsible for the token part. So again, with our solution, we're actually able to you can say have those people do something better for the company than just doing administration, because SMS passcode is pretty much plug and play. When it's up and running, you actually don't need to do a lot of administration. So again, if you look at the strong authentication part, so a lot of the vendors out there in the online market, if you go to the bank, if you go to the hairdresser, I mean literally everything out there in the online world is authenticated by SMS or text as it is today. So some of you also have home banking where you have an app on the mobile phone, but in a lot of cases the banks and you can say Facebook, Gmail and all that, they have actually allowed the users to step up authentication using two-factor with SMS, so you don't need to install anything on the mobile phone. And the reason for them doing that is naturally because, I mean, everybody has a mobile phone and everybody is able to receive an SMS. So you don't need to do any configuration on the mobile phone in order for this to work. So it is, again, pretty much plug and play, so you don't need to distribute anything to the end user. So, and that's one of the really strong arguments for you can say moving to SMS-based authentication. And you can say it's nothing new with the SMS-based authentication. A lot of vendors do SMS-based authentication. And I will try to outline the differences. I mean, again, it's easy to do generate a code, send it to a mobile phone, but it's all the engine that is beneath the solution that's vital. And that's why you should look at SMS passcode. So again, if you look at what makes us unique, again, as I said, because we use SMS as a primary way of delivering the code, it's very painless for the user, so to speak. We often see when speaking about security, there's always this drawback that the more security you implement, the more troubled it gets to be a user. A lot of stuff you need to be aware of and all that. But with SMS passcode, it's actually very intuitive to use, and thereby it's also easy to educate your users about how to use this. And you will also see that for yourself. In terms of IT, so SMS passcode can be, I would say in most cases, tested within a day. We do have these 30-day trial periods, but I would say most of our customers actually manage to test the product within a few days because it's actually pretty much plug and play. Of course, we do have a lot of advanced functionality that you can do, but I mean it is really simple, and we get a lot of really good feedback around the way we do the implementation. So I would bet that at least those of you running a solution today would be very surprised about how it actually can be done. And again, all this about distributing tokens and all that, I know that a lot of vendors like us do say, okay, we reduce the cost, we improve the ROI, very high buzzwords in the IT industry. But to be honest, I mean, you can do the math around, at least those of you running traditional tokens today and the administration you have about that, and compare it to close to zero administration. I mean, first of all, you don't need to pay for the tokens anymore and all that. So I actually think that when we claim that we reduce the cost and improve the ROI, I think that we are actually telling the truth about this. And again, this is all about having a superior user experience for the user. And I would say that I'm very surprised. Again, I've been in the IT industry for almost 20 years now, and joined SMS Passcode a year ago, and was actually pretty surprised to see that we actually get feedback from end users being very happy for our product. So we do claim that we have superior user experience, and that's based on the feedback that we actually get from our users out there. So we are very, very happy for that. Again, as I said in the beginning, if you look at the market today, there's a lot of authenticators out there doing what we say called two-factor authentication. So again, as I said before, there's nothing new in delivering a code via SMS. But there's a lot of difference in the way that you create the code and the way that you have the whole authentication mechanism. So if you look at two-factor authentication, which is something you know and something you have. These are the traditional token solutions like you would see from RSA and SafeNet. So these are actually, again, it's two factors that we measure on before we authenticate the users. And I will actually show you in a second how easy it is to compromise those type of solutions, because again, it's very little information that you need. But if you look in terms of what we do in SMS Passcode, we do what's called multi-factor authentication. And simply what we do is that we have more factors that we taste, so to speak, before we allow the user in. So again, the connection. So every time a user tries to connect to a system, we generate a unique session ID. So this actually prevents the session from being hijacked. So if a hijack or if a man-in-the-middle attack goes on, they will generate a new session, and thereby the passcode will not be valid anymore. So the passcode is only valid for one particular session. Then you can add another factor about the location. So you can say, for instance, people outside the Czech Republic are not allowed to log into a system. So that's another factor. Then we will have the role or the rights that you have in the groups. Also the point of entry, I mean the way that you connect into the infrastructure, and also time of day. So by adding all these factors, you also increase the security of your system. And as I said, I would like to show you how easy it is to compromise. We actually have a thing that we do when we are out at customer meetings. So those of you running Citrix may be familiar with this website. I know it's very old, but this is actually set up as a phishing site. So this would be a normal user logging in to the Citrix web interface. So if I try to type in my username and password, and then I would use my token code, so I would take my physical RSA or SafeNet token, and then type in my passcode. So this is what I would see as a normal user. I wouldn't be able to see that this is actually a phishing site set up to actually hijack my username, password, and the credentials. So I will try to log in. And in this case, we actually inform the user because this is just to prove how easy it is. So as a hacker phishing the credentials from this user, I can get his username, password, and the passcode. And I would just be able to prompt the user back with an error message or something like that. But I actually now have the credentials for logging into this particular system. So that's how easy it is to do a man-in-the-middle attack or phishing attack with what we call two-factor authentication, and thereby also the traditional token providers. So, and this is a way that, I mean, this is just the way the technology works, and therefore it's very, very vulnerable to identity theft or man-in-the-middle attacks. So that's how much it takes from a hacker to compromise RSA, SafeNet, and those traditional providers. So very easy, can be done. There are a lot of ways you can see this on the internet. So at least make sure that you have a solution that can do multi-factor authentication that is session-based. Then this will not be possible anymore. So in terms of the SMS Passcode platform itself, again, as I said, we do support most major vendors out there. And again, as I said, whether you're running VPNs, Citrix, VMware, whatever, we do support it. And also Outlook Web Access for that matter, that's also supported. But as a new thing, we also open up for public cloud support. Could be Office 365, Google Apps, but we actually also extended it to support Citrix ShareFile. We actually supported it out of the box, but we're just announcing it next week that we have full support for Citrix ShareFile as well. So we do have a wide range of products that we do support. If you look at the server itself, it's actually very easy. Again, if you look at the security solutions in general, they are often very heavy to handle from an administrative point. But in terms of SMS Passcode, it's very easy. You set up the server, and and you don't need to do any schema extension in Active Directory. You basically just need to have a group in Active Directory, and we just pull all the information to our database. So in that way, you don't need to touch the infrastructure outside. You don't need a SQL server. We have the built-in database in SMS Passcode. So again, one of the mantras that we have in SMS Passcode is that the less systems that we are dependent on, the more likely our system is to work. So we don't like to be dependent on a lot of other different systems. So we pretty much have everything built into the server itself. And it's the server is very scalable. So all again, we are a Danish company, and again, we do have some heritage on the Lego toys, but everything is made of building blocks, meaning that you can scale the system pretty much infinite. We don't have any limitation on how much we scale in terms of end users. So that's pretty much the system in a nutshell, and it's a very simple system to operate. We do have two additional modules in the server. We do have what we call a password reset module. That's a separate module that we have, and it's basically what it does is that it can reset your Active Directory password. And I'll show you that in a live demo as well. Then we have something called secure device provisioning. We are actually able to protect ActiveSync on mobile devices as well. I will touch that later in the presentation today. And then we have a self-service portal, and I'll also show you how that works. But in terms of the way that we deliver the token codes, or the one-time passcodes, as you can see out here, we do have a lot of different ways, because we know that, I mean, if we only supported SMS, we are also realistic. It doesn't fit for everyone. So we do have different ways that we can actually deliver the code. So you can either do it via SMS, you could do it via voice call, or secure email. Those three ways of delivering the code are all session specific. So back to what I said before about the difference between two-factor authentication and multi-factor authentication, and being able to have a session-specific solution. So we do support session-specific access on those three things. But again, because of the technology, if you look to what we call cloud keys, and we also support physical tokens, either hard tokens like you know them from RSA and SafeNet, or the soft tokens from vendors like Microsoft and Google. It's not able to be session specific. So if you choose these two types of solution, you will automatically lower the security. So we don't advise customers to use cloud keys or tokens, because in general, if you are able to get the token or the code before you log into the system, it's considered being less secure, and it's easier to compromise. But again, we do have mining companies and a lot of other different companies where they don't have a mobile connection. They might have the internet connection. Again, in a mining company, we know that they have wireless in the tunnels down there. So instead of relying on the SMS, we could provide them with a key. And we also see that in some cases they actually use Skype and then get a voice call with the token code. So there are a lot of different ways of delivering the code, and all the different ways here can be used as load balancing as well. So if the SMS doesn't work, you will receive a voice call. If that doesn't work, it will automatically fail over to secure email. So in that way, you have also built high availability into the solution, making sure that regardless of what technology the user is sitting on, you will still be able to get the one-time passcode. So, and in version 7, we actually introduced adaptive authentication. This is actually where we can detect where the user is logging in from, and based on that, provide the right access. So we do operate with the trusted, non-trusted locations, and you can say, okay, if a user logs in from a branch office, we bypass multi-factor authentication because he's logging in from a trusted network. So you are able to do, you can say, granular authentication or adaptive authentication based on where the user are located. So we do actually, this is a feature we've, a lot of the vendors, Microsoft, Cisco and all those guys do support this, but if you look at Citrix, This is actually a change we did together with Citrix on the NetScaler. So if you're running the NetScaler, this is supported out of. You basically in the NetScaler just need to check mark one single thing, and you will have what we call adaptive authentication. So that's a change request SMS Passcode has done in the Citrix NetScaler. So again, the concept of the solution, again, very simple deployment with Active Directory integration, and I would say the way that the system is built, we do support all different setups of Active Directory. We haven't gone through a customer yet where we are not able to support the AD setup. So we do support very complex setups. Again, we do have geolocation awareness. Again, to provide different ways of access to the system, and then again, location-aware dispatching. And location-aware dispatching could be if you have branch offices. Maybe in the US, you don't want to ship an SMS because of the roaming cost, you can just ship them an email. So the system detects also where the user is logging in from and can actually provide the correct token code based on that. So that's a very advanced way of delivering the one-time passcode. Again, the adaptive user authentication, this is to explain it in a nutshell. So you have different groups and you have different applications that you want to provide access with. So in this case, you can say the management have full access, but they need to log on with multi-factor authentication. And if you see, for instance, the external IT consultants have full access to do password resets, Citrix NetScaler, and VPNs. But we will not grant them access to Outlook Web Access, SharePoint, Salesforce, and ActiveSync for that matter. So in this way, with the adaptive user authentication, you can actually granulate the access level to different systems based on location, groups, and all that. So that's a very intelligent way of using it, and it's actually pretty easy to set up different policies that can actually set a very advanced system like this. So that was a little bit about the solution itself. And now on to a lot of the demo. I just need to have a little bit of water here. So on to the demos. So I just need to connect my phone here as well, so you can see that and you can see my kids here. So now you can see my phone. I really like to do this because I know that a lot of our customers, some of the first things that we are asked is, what about the SMS? So how fast does it arrive? And I mean, in most cases we see the SMS arrive between 2 to 4 seconds from the login is approved. And you will see that today. Again, we have a lot of customers in Australia as well. And I remember the first time I visited Australia, I was a little bit worried because going from Denmark to Australia, I mean, there's a lot of roaming networks in between, but I mean, the text arrives within like 3 to 5 seconds, even in Australia. So there's a very high delivery rate on the SMSs, and it's, I mean, you use SMS every day, most of you, and it's very unlikely that the SMS doesn't arrive. So I would say that it's in theory only. So, but if we start and start showing you Microsoft Outlook Web Access. So again, this is a live demo, and in this case, this is my live mailbox. So I don't know if any weird mails has showed up, but here goes nothing. So I use my normal username and password, and I log in, and you will get this redirected page. And you can see that this SMS is sent, remaining 41 seconds, and out on the right side you can see my passcode. And as you can see here, it's a flash SMS, meaning that the minute I press OK, it's away from the screen and it's not stored locally. So I log into the system, and I have my mailbox here. So that's how simple it is from a user perspective. And I mean, it's, again, it takes very little education to an end user to tell them how to use this. I often use a very good example. We do have a customer in Norway where they did a POC. They started the POC Thursday, worked on it Friday as well, and by accident they put SMS passcode in production for the weekend. And I think they're about 300-400 users or something like that. They had 2 calls to the help desk during the weekend, and they had about 100 successful logons to the system. So that also explains how intuitive it is to work with. You basically just need to do what it says on the screen. So it's very, very, very easy. If we take the VMware as well, I had some issues with the VMware system, but hopefully it will allow me to connect. Otherwise, we just take some of the other stuff. But again, username, password, authenticate, says enter passcode here. In here, you're actually able to provide some additional information if you want to do that. DEZ and login, and I just press OK to the text out here, and I'm on the VMware system. So again, very easy way of doing it. And as you can see, the dialog boxes are very easy to understand. If I, for instance, take the Cisco AnyConnect VPN here, show you how that works as well. Again, here you can see it just said enter passcode. Again, that's what we've set up the system. You can actually do it in a lot of different ways, customize this in any way you need. And if you look at the SMS I get over here, it says that I'm in a trusted location. This means that I've actually been logging on to the system more than 3 times and being successfully authenticated. So when I press OK here, I would be authenticated. And you can also customize the look of the SMS here. So provide additional info if you want to do that for the end user. So this is completely customizable if you want to do that. So I just press OK to this one. So if you look at the Citrix, some of you might have this as well. So you get redirected to this authentication page. Again, passcode sent, you get the feedback. And I have it here called ESA XEX. So again, what happens now if I don't use this passcode? Again, it's a true one-time passcode. And again, because it's session-based, it can only be used for this particular login. So if the timer runs out here, it will automatically fail over to another authentication mechanism. So in our case, the way it's set up in SMS passcode is actually that it will fail over to do an email. And I can actually show you this. So we'll just try to run out here. So 2-1. Oh. So now it's sending me a new passcode. And now I should receive an email. And I got it here. So this is the failover mechanism running here. So this is my new passcode called SIGIT. So this is, again, it's a failover mechanism. If the primary code fails, it would automatically send me an email. So now when this runs out, I think that my system is set up to do a voice call. So what it would actually do is, in a few seconds, it will automatically have the voice functionality to call me up, delivering the passcode. So you can see there it goes. Unfortunately, you cannot hear the code. Just cancel here. So I'll try to log in with a new session. So this is a way of ensuring that the user is getting the password, of course. So I'll just request a new access here. So NIB DID and authenticate. So now I'm logged into the Citrix system, and from in here I would like to show you some additional functionality. As I said, we do have a very extensive logging functionality. Again, we are a security vendor, and we tend to monitor stuff. So we've actually, I don't know if any one of you are familiar with Splunk. Splunk is a free tool. Just wait with the update here. It's a free tool up to 500 megabytes a day, I think, or a week, something like that. And what it basically does is that it collects all the logs from SMS Passcode. So we've actually built it a plugin for Splunk. So those of you running Splunk today will actually be able, free of charge, to get this monitoring tool for Splunk. And what we can actually do in here is that we can get a lot of information about the SMS Passcode infrastructure. So in this case, I just take the logins for the last 24 hours. You can actually see here, so all the logins that I've been doing are getting logged. I'm getting the country and the city I'm logging in from, phone number, what authentication client I'm logging into, and all that. So very extensive functionality about this. And furthermore, you will be able to see the authentication. So the authentication's done in the system the last 24 hours. You can do this, of course, on as you can see here, you can do it in real time as well, so you can get live data in this system. But you can see here successful logins. So if you say the Citrix web interface, those are the blue lines. We can see when people have been logging in. If I drill down in this report, I will also be able to see the usernames. So an authentication failure, success. So this is my username here. So those are the guys, or the times I've been successfully authenticated. And as you can see here, also authentication failures and all that. So a lot of different information you can get here. You can also see authentication failures by type. So in this case, we have the last 24 hours, we have 5 people being logged out of the system. Now we do a lot of demo in the password reset functionality, but this would actually provide you with a full picture of how much you would actually be able to leverage a solution like our password reset model. Furthermore, we have some additional, that's more technical stuff. So transmissions, top 10 SMS transmissions, so who's receiving the most SMSs within the last 24 hours. Load balancing, so which modems are we using and so forth. So you can actually see here the average time of delivery of the SMS again. So a lot of information here. But what I like the most is actually the map. So this actually provides you with a full picture of who's logging in into your infrastructure. And again, I must say that sometimes I get pretty surprised. So this is within the last 24 hours. Normally we have over here in the US, we do have, now this is our office in the US on the West Coast, but we normally see a lot of hacking attacks from the middle part of the US, but we haven't had anyone for the last 24 hours, so I cannot show you that. But what I can show you is that, for instance, if I zoom down here to Denmark, see that we have a guy logging in from Odense, which is in the middle part. So this is where I sit right in Copenhagen here, and you can drill down and be really specific. You can see it divides up, and actually this is where I'm located here. So if I click on that one, I would actually get some more information here. So in this case, you're actually able to see where the bad guys are trying to log in from, and they will be marked with a big red dot. And see over here, it's very likely that we have our colleagues in the UK logging in. So again, this is within the last 24 hours. So this provides you with a great overview of how, just a second here. Yeah, we got a question here. What about the scenario if a user phone is locked? Yeah, so we can take that at the very end just to make sure that we get the right question. So, but this is a full overview of what you can actually see with the logging functionality, and also you can set a lot of different triggers in terms of what should, if you know that you're getting hacker attempts, you can get an email and so forth. But this is all within Splunk, so we've just created the interface to integrate into Splunk. So very, very cool functionality. So another thing I would like to show you is the self-service portal. Again, we know that some customers do not have all the phone numbers in Active Directory, and in the case where you have users using their private phone for authenticating, you might need a tool where you're actually able as a user to type in your phone number yourself. So in this case, so this is what a user can actually change. Again, everything in here is decided by the administrator. So we can prevent users from touching anything in here. But in this case, this is my phone number, and I can actually type in a secondary phone number here if I want to have a failover number. So again, that would be the secondary number. So for instance, if I lose this mobile phone or something like that, I will automatically be doing failover to a secondary number. Then you have some email. Then you have the personal passcode. And this is a very important thing if you have the password reset module. Now I will show you how it works. But again, a lot of different things that you can do here. Then there is a token policy here. And again, even though we don't advise customers to use physical tokens or soft tokens because of the lowered security, we still realize that there in some cases are the need for it. So in this case, I'll just show you how easy it is to do an enrollment of, for instance, Google Authenticator. So I, as a user, go into the self-service portal and actually just press generate here. What happens now is that I get a barcode, and I just then of course the screen sharing dropped here. So I'll just try open it again here, just so you can get an idea about what it does. So if I go back to the QR code here, so what I do is that I take my my Google Authenticator here, says, sorry, this is in Danish, but I say scan barcode. And I just do like this, and I'm enrolled. So this is actually how easy it is from a user to enroll his own token solution. So now I will be able to use Google Authenticator together with SMS Passcode. This is how easy it is to use. So I'll just close here again. So this is the self-service portal. Again, very, very easy to work with. Just close this one. So now I want to show you the password reset functionality. So if I and again, this is live, so hopefully everything will work out fine. But I am using my real account here, so I will try to see if I can get locked out of the system. So that's the third time, and fourth time should be dead then. Yeah. So now it says an authentication error occurred. Contact your system administrator. So what happens in the background is that SMS Passcode actually detects that I'm locked out of the system. As you can see on the right side here, I actually got an SMS. So, and as you can see here, it says that your SMS Passcode account has been locked out due to repeated failing password validations, and I'm permanently locked out. So as a user sitting getting this error message, all of a sudden an SMS shows up on my device telling me what's wrong actually. But not only that, it also provides me with a link to where I'm actually able to to reset my password. So I can do this either from the mobile phone, but because it would be a really small factor, I will show you on the screen here. So type in my username. And then again, I had a personal passcode typed into the self-service side. I use that here. And then I need to confirm my identity, and we use SMS passcode as an engine for that. So YSUK28. Voila, and then I'm actually able to reset my password. And as you can see here, it's using my local language, so here it will be in Czech. And I press complete here, and now my passcode is changed, or password is changed for the Active Directory. So if I go back here to the Synapse session, trying to log in, I'm actually authenticated again. So this is how easy it is from a user to reset the password. And if I log in here, I'm authenticated. So that's how easy it is from a user perspective to get online with the system again. And again, our mantra is that it needs to be easy to work with from a user perspective, and I sincerely believe that that this is the case. Yeah. So the last thing I want to demo before we round up here is our brand new support. This is you're probably the first guys in the world seeing this. I just had a talk with Ed Chili from Citrix around this. We are going to announce the support for Citrix ShareFile next week when there's the big Synergy event in the US. So again, basically pretty much the same way of authenticating. Type in your username and password. You can see here it's sending the SMS. It's sent, and I should receive it here. It's TUXGYK. And I actually now have two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication on Citrix ShareFile. This is also supported on the mobile devices, of course. So again, we do support a wide range of different systems. But from a personal perspective, I think that the coolest part is that it's actually looking pretty much the same on all platforms. So from a user perspective, it is extremely easy to work with. So that was the demos. Again, just to sum up some of the ways that we can deliver the token, SMS or flash SMS. We use the SMS for very old mobile phones. So if any one of you are having an old Symbian Nokia phone doesn't supporting flash SMS, we will of course need to use the regular SMS that's supported as well. Secure email is supported if you want to do that. Voice call can also be supported. And again, we do support the tokens. But again, I would really encourage you to rethink if you need a physical token. Again, because they're not session-based and all that, it's very easy to tamper with the security and those guys. So those are the two ways that we can deliver it. So another thing we introduced in version 7 is secure device provisioning. So basically what we are able to do here, I'm not going to do a lot fuss about it, but what we can do here is that we can secure the initial connection to the Exchange server from mobile devices. So instead of having the administrator to needing to approve the devices connecting via ActiveSync, like iPhones, Androids and stuff like that, we can actually use SMS passcode to safely grant access to the Exchange server. This is done in a very intuitive way again, and the users are actually able to self-provision the devices based on the SMS passcode technology. And it's a really strong tool. Again, it's not going to replace any MDM solutions or anything like that, but it makes sure that if you're not running MDM solutions today, we can at least secure that when a user identifies the first time on Exchange via ActiveSync, he's approved and checked as being the right person. So this is a really cool functionality of SMS passcode, and very unique functionality, by the way. Again, at the very end, as I said in the beginning, we are a very rock solid product, and we do get really a lot of good feedback from our customers. We do these surveys now and then, and again, I must say the first few times I saw it, I was really surprised. As you can see here, we asked 274 customers about if the solution actually delivered what was promised, and 98% actually said, well, yes, you actually delivered what we aimed for. And the last 2% are still undecided. But again, we do see people are actually saving money. People are actually extremely happy with the solution, and being a part of a vendor like that is really cool. Again, we do get a lot of feedback from customers just calling us saying, it works, it's great, why didn't we do this before? So that was it for me. We still have 5 minutes left, and I think that if you have any questions now, I don't know, Lucas, if we have gotten any questions during the session.
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. So please, if you have any questions, now would be the time to ask.
Tak dámy a pánové, pokud máte dotazy, použijte prosím písemnou podobu dole v chatu na ovládání GoToWebináře.
Okay, but then at the end here, please, if you have any questions in regards to SMS Passcode, we will make sure that you get the presentation. And again, as I said, we do have these trial that you can do. So please reach out if you want to do a trial. It's free of charge. Again, it takes less than a day to do the installation and setup of the product, and then you will have 30 days of testing the solution in your infrastructure. And Lucas stole my screen. I'm all done. Well, for my part, thank you very much. Thank you for taking time this morning to hear a little bit about SMS Passcode, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you. And Lucas?
Yeah, okay, Christian. So thank you very much. I'm just stopping recording at the moment.